happens is information comes in as a thought form, an idea, a feeling, and in ancient alchemy and sacred geometry in our mind takes that information. This is how powerful and knowledgeable it is, and translates it into our language. And then all in a split second that information comes through, it's translated, it's put into words that our synaptic comes in and connects and then comes out of our mouth as a word. But we aren't actually hearing the words so much. Sometimes some people do actually hear a word and they hear it outside of their ear, but even that really is coming in through a thought form. When we talk to our animals and our pets, it's the same thing. And deceased loved ones, it's not so much this tuning into a language, but that's why when people do, they kind of pause for a second because their mind is sorting out the information, and then there's a formulation of the words that come out. So that's why when you hear somebody in a full trance channel, it may seem a little bit slow. Not all channeling happens in a full trance. You do it in a, use it as a semi-trance. You're aware of what's coming through.
Yeah, I'm aware. I feel like I'm going off in a little corner, and information comes in, like you said, thought packets.
But so a full trance channel would be like what Natalie Gianelli does with Dr. Peebler and what Esther Hicks does with Abraham. They actually close their eyes, give over their body, and energy will come in and be present in their body. And when they come out of the trance, they don't have a lot of memory of what happened. And they'll have a recording on so they can hear themselves, but they're not really hearing what's going on. Your aunt does it that way. She's a full trance channel. Semi-trance is where you can feel the energy of it being around you, and you can sense who it is that you're talking to, but you're hearing every word that you say. And so you're participating in it together. And then there's non-trance, where it's simply a claircognitive thought, and all of a sudden this brilliant idea comes out of your mouth, and you're thinking, did I just say that? That was so cool. Where did that come from? And you didn't really even recognize that an entity was around you. Some will come in with the highest and best spiritual purpose to be a teaching. Some, if they notice that you're open to channel, just want to drop in and have an opportunity to speak through somebody who has the ability to translate for them. And others maybe have more of a naughty agenda, so you do want to set an intention to always have that at the highest being of spiritual teachings come through to you, any more than you would simply just open your door to any stranger that knocked on the door. You want to start jumping in and sharing?
Yeah, well, I wanted to mention that the energies that we're dealing with, like you said, we can, excuse me, we open up and we set our intention to deal with energies from a higher source. And at this time, what's taking place is that we are being empowered. So there's more of this integrative channeling, as you mentioned, where it's not so much the entities' power coming in, but it's their guidance and our decision to be empowered, to take this to a different state of being, where we now are opening up to greater dimensions of ourselves. So it's not so much that we want to say, okay, take me over and let's see what wisdom comes from some other place, but it's to say, help me be my fullest potential. Help me unfold to what I can be, to my greatest self, because there's so much more to who we are than just this limited physical existence that we've been taught and we've been shown, that we can be so much greater. Danielle, I think you're a great example of that, how much you've grown and blossomed and become, just because you've made a decision, this is the direction I want to go in. And so as you took those steps, you had guidance, but you've been empowered by your choices and your actions.
As I open up and have the information come in, I'm learning it as well.
Yes, yes. And so to me, this is where the transformation is taking place at this time. That we're seat. We're the ones making the choices. And that's why it's so important not to judge ourselves if we're not feeling comfortable. It's our learning that this is what we're here to learn. That uncomfort means that's not maybe the best choice, and now we can re-choose and we can go in a new direction and learn in that way. And to me, this is such a big, such a great time to be alive. And I see these. I live with two teenagers, and I just look at them and I say they're so lucky to be just coming up at this time, because they're aware that there's something more, and they're learning about these ideas, but they're also, just getting started in life and learning about everything else at the same time. And what we have now, to me, it's nothing short of biblical. And that's been the most difficult part of my journey, is accepting that this isn't for somebody else, for some other time, for something else that I've read about in a book, that it's just then and it can't happen here. It's so happening here. This is why we're here. This is what we're about. That this is absolutely what we're here to experience. That Jason mentioned about angels, and there's no question that we can experience the presence of angels and be in the presence of angels and know an angelic part of who we are. And it's not some forbidden place. This is why we're alive, to open up to this other dimension of who we are. So I'm just enjoying this journey so much that it's not some mystical date that's going to click on all of a sudden, in December everyone's going to just walk around 2 inches off the ground. But it's really
Could
about
happen.
each day.
It's already happening now, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it's. I don't think it's not like some sort of standing on a cliff with a precipice of, okay, today we're here and tomorrow we're going to be there. It's far more subtle than that. And how many of you have felt the shift in 2012 already? Just easy as it was accumulating even towards the end of 2011. But I mean, really, ever since 11/11/11, things here have turned around and
Accelerated.
yeah,
It's like time is going at warp speed, zooming.
it is. I mean, things are happening. It's like every day I look at yesterday and I recognize there's something today I know that I didn't yesterday, and I can't believe how fast we're learning and growing in the things that are becoming more true. And just hear myself and the ladies that work with me here at the temple, Tanya and Jessie, every day, we look at the things that are happening and we're just in awe. And people are changing and shifting and perspectives, and we're seeing some of the grumpiest people that are around here all of a sudden just tuning into something and having these feelings of unconditional love and light. I mean, it's an exciting time to be here. Jason, you had something?
It's funny because I've been interpreting this in a different way, because the ego within me right now is clawing for survival. And because I have very heightened awareness of it, but it's almost, it feels very threatened right now because of all these changes and shifts going on, that it's like trying to pull out every last little stop that it can do. It feels that way to me, and just in so many areas of trying to hold on.
Anybody else feel that way? Anybody else
I
feel like
felt that
their
way.
ego
It's
pulls?
weird.
That's a really natural feeling, and I have two comments on that. One, your ego is about your survival. That is its
Yes.
consciousness. It tells you to eat and to sleep and to run away if the building's on fire and to pull away from somebody who jumps into your lane on the freeway. So we want to embrace our ego. It helps keep our body in a state of being and aliveness. What I found when my ego was doing that to me was I talked to it and told it it was safe, that it wasn't going to be going anywhere, that I wasn't trying to eradicate it, that I wasn't trying to pull away from it and dismiss it, that it was a part of me and that it was going to take this journey with me, and that it would have a lot more fun if it recognized that I wasn't going to be trying to push it aside, how important it was to me, and then it went, oh, and then it stopped clawing, and it stopped trying to get that existence. So integrate and befriend your ego and say, really the biggest thing, one of the most wise words I ever heard was, our ego is here to serve us, but it should not be our master. And that's really, when we're taking this spiritual path, what we're really trying to do is no longer allow our egos to be our master, but it certainly does serve us in many ways, and embracing it as a beloved servant, rather than something that we're trying to, that causes us, it's not a lower vibration. You know, it's simply about survival.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
And one other thing to remember is that the energy of this new earth has been anchored already. It's not like we're now trying to open up and start this whole thing off. The energy of this new earth is anchored here on earth now. We're shifting our energies to match up with it. This is what's taking place. It's not we have to establish something. It's been brought in over the last 10 years. The energy of Earth has literally transformed. And I heard it put so elegantly that about global warming, the Earth isn't sick, it's pregnant, and it's birthing a new humanity.
Yeah. Yeah, the Earth's axis being out of sync was not supposed to be that way, which is why we have these intense seasonal changes. The Earth is actually supposed to be more in line, and it's not supposed to have the seasonal wobbles, which is why the polars are getting warmer, because we're not having those intense periods where it's away from the sun. And I also heard something similar, that if you think of, we call Earth Mother Earth, and if we are in her womb, and everything that the Earth is experiencing, think of a pregnant woman, everything she experiences, the child experiences. If Mother Earth is going through these transitions and this realignment and coming back out of her non-alignment, then those that she has in her womb, which is us, as she aligns, so do we align. And we get back into a center. And she's been out of alignment for a couple of thousand years. And now things are starting to move back into place. And all of a sudden now the vibrations are going to be a little bit higher. And that's why we're noticing these things. And it's why I'm always channeled to have us go in and bless Mother Earth and connect to her. Because it's our umbilical cord, isn't it, to the earth. We are being birthed by her.
And in my Tuesday classes, we have this message over and over to go out and connect with nature, like connect directly to her. And go, and I'll just sit in the grass on occasion. And originally I would sit there and just have this feeling of connecting into the earth. Just in the last week, I feel this energy coming up and embracing me, and so there's been changes. I mean, there's daily there are changes happening. So
I think that's why I've been in the last couple of months so drawn to the oils, because it's all earth energy. It's all plant and flowers, and I've brought them into my life in a way. And you're right, just going out into a park or to a beach and putting your feet in the sand or on the grass. Or sitting against a tree, it's not just about getting away from your TV and getting out and getting fresh air. It's so much more profound than that.
Yeah, even a brother-in-law who's a healer by trade, he's a chiropractor, and he was having a bunch of problems with stress and all kinds of things. And I just mentioned to him, the same exact thing. So he went out in a field and just laid there, and he got back to me. That it was amazing and transformative.
From a physics point of view too, when you lay and you put your feet on the grass or on the dirt, you literally ground yourself.
Yes.
So like all of the EMFs that we experience, because we're so modernized, all that stuff, all of those frequencies are flowing through our bodies. When you put your feet in the grass, you actually ground yourself, and then the frequencies go into the earth instead of through your body.
Excellent. Yeah, we're electromagnetic by nature. We have electricity all through our body.
Yeah.
Fields all
Yeah,
through our-
it's pretty amazing. They even have, like for your home, I can't wait to get this thing when I order it, but it's like this pad you put on your bed,
Mhm.
and it has a cord
It goes out into
of
your, I
window.
was actually just gonna say that, yeah.
Yeah, it
Or
goes into,
grounding.
and it goes into the earth, so you
Nice.
ground yourself and you're sleeping
Yeah.
to get all the EMFs gone from you, pretty
We
much.
had Karen Rao Carter that comes here and teaches sometimes and has been a contributor in our magazine. Wonderful feng shui consultant, came to our home in Irvine several years ago, and our son, Arya, his bedroom was on the ground in the front, but he had a metal bed frame, and he had televisions and computers and cell phones, and when she went into his bedroom, the EMF indicator went off the charts, and she had me get one of those pads to lay on his bed, and the cord went out the window and into the flower bed outside his window to ground, and then she came over and rechecked the EMF after I installed it, and it was back down to normal levels. But she looked at him and she said, his kid can't be getting any sleep. You know, his EMFs are off the charts. So we need to ground. I mean, when you think about electricity, what do they say? That third plug in there, it's the grounding plug.
Yeah.
So we know that. And aren't we, electrical beings as well? I mean, don't we have energy running through us?
It really does work. There's this guy who travels from England, and supposedly he's like the EMF master, and he comes to people's houses, especially like celebrities. And so I have a friend who works with the VP of MTV, and his son has, I don't know, some form of slight autism, and the guy came into the house and said his bed is over some electric lines under the ground, and he made him switch the whole room around, and you could see the progression in his behavior.
Changing as he's gotten more
Yeah,
grounded.
moving him away from the electrical magnetic frequencies. So yeah, grounding is
Because
really
they're also
important.
more sensitive to those things. You really don't know.
Yeah.
Because I have an autistic great nephew. So
Yeah.
we do the same thing.
Wow.
And autism to me is just a label assigned to kids that are very, very psychic and intuitive. And they would be very sensitive to those kinds of things. So, dovetailing it back into channeling, we get all kinds of messages from our guides, our spiritual teachers, ascended masters, and even those that we don't work with on a regular basis will come in and visit. And I know that you've been teaching the class now. Has it been a year? Has it been since
Almost a
last?
year, about 10 months.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because ever since we had
was
Solara
it?
on Raw here in March, and then after that we created the class, I think, in April or May.
Yeah, in April.
Yeah.
So 11 months.
So, yeah,
So
almost
it's
coming up
almost
on a
a
year.
Have a
And,
little celebration.
Yeah, you have a star-studded course of guest speakers that come in. I know you've had some pretty amazing information come in, and you do it as well
Yes.
as the students.
Yes.
And so a lot of the students that sit in your class have never done it before, and all of a sudden they just find themselves opening their mouth and coming out with things that's
Mhm.
very easy.
Well, and also people who are, like Mansell, is well experienced with doing channeling, and it gives them a place to come and share and stay with it.
Well, I think, Steve, what's important is, because I communicate with my spirit guides all the time, but sometimes you kind of wonder, is this really what I'm getting? Channeling gives you the opportunity to prove to yourself that you are getting it, because there you are in the room with one of your spirit guides, and you're just saying, well, whatever they say, I just repeat it. And I go pretty quickly because I don't want to get in the middle of any of that. So I do go quickly, but it does prove to me that I, in essence, am getting information because I'm constantly communicating with my spirit guides that are around me. And you always have a question. Is it my mind playing tricks on me or not?
Is that what I want to hear? Is that
Yeah.
some
But
shadow
channeling
part of my
proves that's
personality?
not true.
Yeah.
No, because it's out there. I got a recorder. I can hear it. It proves to me, oh no, this is not stuff I dream of.
No, and you get messages of things that you couldn't possibly have known, using words that you would never really use. And one of the things I found funny was when I would do my clairaudient channeling, being a CPA, I'm excellent with numbers, but my spelling is not my strongest trait. And what I noticed when I did my clairaudient channeling with my writing, it was like I knew how to spell the word. And it was like my spelling really improved when I do the automatic dictation. And then it would go back when I wasn't doing it, I would go back to not knowing how to spell the word and having to look it up. But I always thought it was great. My mind seemed in that channeled state to know how these words that I had never heard of would come out perfectly spelled. So to me that was always an affirmation that there was something coming through that was greater than myself.
And I'm very comfortable channeling through my journaling, but expressing it orally is very challenging for me.
And that's okay.
There's like a fear that I'm going to be
Yeah.
judged or criticized or whatever it is. There's
Oh,
this
you should come to Steve's
fear.
class.
Yeah,
You
I
did
should
once,
attend the
yeah.
classes
Yeah,
more
you
often
did once, yeah.
to try to get over that. I don't know. Do you have any suggestions how to get past that
Practice.
fear?
Practicing in a safe environment.
It's practice. And yeah, exactly what Danielle just said. It has to be a safe environment. That's one thing that I do besides doing the channeling is that I create a space where there's an energy where it's not just safe, but there's an opening to that other side. So
We could have
For
worked in a
instance-
window or a vortex.
it's just something in my heart that I've come to. And so last week, someone came in and they were working with this one particular angel. And when they went into channel, they got the energy of King Tut. And it was just one of these knock your socks off evenings that,
Are you recording these?
no. No, I have to.
That would be
I'll get
great.
with you. We'll start
If we could
recording
hear
it.
them on the website, the recordings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
yes.
That'd be amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
But on Tuesday nights, every other Tuesday, we actually have 3 classes going on here. Steve's channeling My Conscious Anatomy and Robin Duncan's class. And on the night that Robin is here, Steve very graciously allows to have him conduct his class in my office, and I can tell the next morning when Steve's channeling class has been in there the night before. I walk in, and the energy is like there's something in the air. It really. I kind of walk in, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm in something.
Is it energizing?
It feels like knowledge. It feels like there's the resonance of the knowledge. Whatever messages came through, they're still there in the room the next morning. Yeah, and I didn't know it was King Tut, but I walk in, I went, oh, there's something. It's like somebody's been sitting in my chair.
There were some vortexes, yeah. They open up
Yeah,
vortexes.
yeah. I can come in. I'm like, oh, somebody's been here.
And so you hear what you're channeling, or do
Hear
you?
what I'm channeling?
Yeah, he's semi-trance. Yeah.
I get information. Yeah, I listen as I'm speaking. Yeah.
And it comes from different entities?
Yeah, like I say, I open up a space, and then sometimes I'll get a specific entity coming through. Other times I channel directly through my higher self.
Yeah.
And
Does it,
you can
so
feel it.
it's different information all the time? Or,
For me, it's fairly consistent information. For me, it's very much about this opportunity, what's taking place.
is there like a message, a thread that
Well, I'm
ties
glad
the
you asked that,
messages.
because for me, again, it's so much about understanding who we are and what our potential is, and this place of compassion. Not just compassion for others, but compassion for ourselves. And it is so powerful, because whenever I'm feeling like, upset about somebody or something in my life, I go through this progression of either gratitude or acceptance. So if I'm already feeling like, it's not bothering me, I can accept it. But if it's really, hitting one of those buttons or core issues, I start with this place of thank you for the opportunity that I can learn from this. So my teenage daughter, she didn't show up last night. She, I don't know where she is. She didn't leave a message or anything. Well, thanks for the opportunity. As a dad, I'm learning to trust, and, you know, she's got her own car now, so I'm gonna, you know, talk to her, of course, but I'm not gonna be at this place, well, I'm pissed off because you're living your life. No, I'm trusting her, and I'm gonna let her know that there's a boundary. And, oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to share a funny story that happened to me.
Uh-huh.
Is that I think the guys can be very comical and play jokes on you. And
They have a sense of humor, some of them,
what
yeah.
happened to me once is I know a woman who's an amazing trance medium, the most amazing I've ever seen. And she, I was questioning their, you know, because I have a very scientific mind by nature, very detailed. And I was kind of, at that point, very skeptical about the whole thing. And I remember saying, you know, give me some kind of proof that what you're saying is true and where the source is coming from. And I said, okay, well, we'll give you, your friend, my friend's name, has a Bible at his house. Go to page 23, line 3, and then you'll see all the proof you need, or something really funny. It was specific. So I'm like, okay, I'll go check it out. And then directly on that line, it was something like, and Satan, it was like a really, like the devil kind of a thing, just to play a joke on me. And I was reading the line, and, you know, they were just kind of joking around with me, but it was a very specific line. And, you know, I came back to them, and I said, you know, what was that all about? And they basically responded with, you know, we just felt like playing a little joke on you and something like that. So it was just a funny situation, but there's humor in those circles. It's not just about like knowledge and stuff like that, but I think there's you know, it's comical to some degree. They have a sense of humor.
The energies that come in, they can be humorous, they can be these loving, gentle, warm, sweet messages. They can also be very intellectual and alchemical in nature.